Good morning, everybody. Have a good mantra or inspirational quotes. The science behind them, why this is effective. If you've ever gone into someone's office or someone's home, particularly an office, you'll see little quotes all over the place. We put quotes on coffee mugs, we put quotes on signs, we put quotes in our homes, we put quotes. Just take a look at Pinterest. It's filled with quotes. We like quotes. Quotes from everywhere. Quotes from people, quotes from the Bible, quotes from books. We like quotes, especially inspirational quotes. Why is that? And why is it effective? Okay, so I've talked about changing perspective on here. That reality is ascribable and your mood is changeable. Mood only offers you input. And it could be input from anything. It could be input from a bad burrito you ate last night, so you wake up and you're crabby and you're thinking negative about life and about anything. Love, physics, and your mood is variable and it's only a piece of information and it's not directly from A to B. It's not directly relatable to what's happening right now. It's not directly due to reality. It's just information coming from whatever cause, and it's alterable. Feelings aren't facts. And facts aren't even facts until you ascribe a meaning to them. And we only know what we only know. This is where quotes come in. Quotes and inspirational mantras come in. The difference between a mantra and a quote is very fine line. A mantra is something that you say over and over. You take on as your personal go-to. This is something that, I stand for. This is my mantra. And an inspirational quote is just sort of a quote. I have one on my wall right now. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And we do this, and this is effective for us, because you can only change your perspective with your own brain. We only know what we only know, and this brain can only take us as far as it can take us. When we see an inspirational quote, it's a thought that we wouldn't have already thought of ourselves. That's what drew us to it, is because it pertains to something inside of us. It hits us here or here as a really bright idea or a really good way to feel and think about a thing through your feeling, how you should behave. Your vibe attracts your tribe, or a way that you should feel or would like to feel. It strikes a personal chord with you. And when you want to change your perspective, you try to switch your thoughts. You try to use your thoughts to switch your feelings. But you can only think what you can only think. We only know what we know. We think what we think. And our ideas of how to change our mode, change our approach, change our thinking, change our perspective only go as far as our own perspective. And so a quote, an inspirational quote or a mantra, is a much larger concept that most all of us as adults struggle with. They talk about love, they talk about life, they talk about mortality, they talk about business, they talk about everything. And you can take a much larger concept and shrink it down to a sentence, an easy to remember sentence. And so when you wake up in the morning, when you're stressed, when you find yourself out of the frame of mind that you would like to be in, you can look at this quote or reiterate it over and over those tapes in your head, and change into that mode versus your own mode. And the quote is helpful because it's not your own thought. Just like wisdom. You only know what you only know, and what you only know is small. Everyone is. No matter how brilliant they are. It's a drop in the ocean of wisdom. And we can only go where we know. We can only think what we know. When someone introduces a new concept, a grandiose concept, in this little tiny package that we can swallow easily, it's like having a dialogue. It gives our brain something else to leap off of that we wouldn't have otherwise thought of. That's why we're drawn to quotes, is because they do have the capacity. Quotes and mantras, just like the tapes that play in your head over and over and over, your own thoughts. You can overlay these over your own thoughts and work yourself up into a different perspective. Repetition matters to our mind. So the more that we view a quote or we repeat a mantra, the more power that it's going to have as an autopilot tape in your head. And the ones that are going to be effective are going to be the ones that are applicable to you. Things that you struggle with. You find quotes on the things that you struggle with. And it's like somebody else's perspective. And having somebody else's perspective to hop off of is like having a new thought inserted into your mind. So now you have more to work with than you had before you saw the quote. I've never thought of it that way. Well, now you can. Now that's part of your own mental capacities that you didn't have before you saw the quote. And now you just got to drill it into your head and remind yourself of it. And that's why we put the quotes in very visible areas all over the place, the quotes that we like, is because it's not ours. It didn't come from our mind. It came from somebody else's. And it's not our thoughts. It's not our normal modus operandi. And it's not our own mind thinking. It's somebody else's thinking that was wise and we thought would be a better way of doing things than the way we do things. And so we need to have it around us to remind us of that perspective. And so yes, quotes are effective. Mantras are effective. It's helpful to paste that stuff all over the place if you're a particularly negative type of individual as an automatic. To write quotes down, we learn things better when we write them and when we speak them and when we see things repetitively. But we are drawn to them because there's someone else's thoughts, large concepts that we deal with, distilled down, and it's a new thought for our own brain to jump off of, to work ourselves into a different perspective, one that we would prefer to be in. So it's not a bunch of garbage. They work. And the ones that seem silly are the ones that don't apply to you. So try it. Don't just discount it. There is science behind it. It makes you think. It gives you wisdom that you didn't otherwise have, or at least an idea of some other way to look at a thing, some new perspective or some new thought to bounce your own self off of. Love you guys. Try it. Write it all over your walls. Write it all over your forehead. So the first thing you see in the morning when you look in the mirror is a better way to think or feel. Try mantras and quotes. They work. There's a reason why we, as a culture, do it so much. Because it's effective. Love you guys. Bye, YouTube. Sorry, it's long again.